Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So we had a bit of a shift in numbers this week. So let's dive in and kind of talk about what we saw happen in the last 7 days in Halton Hills. So in Georgetown this week, we only had 18 listings, which is significantly down from the previous weeks where we saw 30 plus listings. I honestly think this has something to do with how little inventory is currently available. So last week, our new listings were quite low, so we didn't have a surplus of listings for people to sort of pick up in the last 7 days. So when I look back at the pattern, we do see the weeks that we have high new listings, the following weeks seem to have much better sales. And so I think this is, again, just an issue with our supply and demand. There's not enough product for people to buy in the last 7 days. So when we look at new listings this week, though, we have 29 new listings. 2 of them were relists, but 27 new properties entering the market. So I anticipate next week, because of what is newly available this week, and typically people are holding off offers right now, so that's getting pushed into sales for this week. I anticipate next week that our sales numbers in Georgetown will be right back up because we had a surplus of inventory that is going to sell this week from last week. Sorry if I'm rambling on that. Okay, so now in terms of Acton, we had a crazy week in Acton. We had 9 properties sell, which is like double what we normally see, but 7 of them sold over asking. So there is this like pent up demand in Acton, and people are just wanting everything that's getting listed there right now. We did have 9 listings come up this week, so inventory and sales were sort of even, but that is still really good movement for the people selling in Acton. In Glen Williams, we had 1 property sell, which is good, and we had no new listings come up there. In Limehouse, we had no property sell, but we did have 1 new listing enter the market there. So no movements in terms of sales this week in Rural, but we did have 1 new property list there. So let's look at active listings this week. So the good news is inventory is up. We had 105 listings last week, and we are up to 114 listings this week. Our sold conditionals are up this week to 18 of those properties being sold conditional. It is a good sign that we have some movement upwards in terms of our active listings. In Georgetown, as predicted, because of our high new listing count this week, we are up to 72 active listings. So when we sort of break it down by price point, under 700,000 is down this week. Those properties are really transient. We're seeing some new listings, but like they're going really quick and kind of not able to keep up with the demand in that price point. Between 700 and 800, we're up to 13 active listings. And between 800 and $1 million, we are up to 14 active listings. So the interesting thing, like I sort of touched on with our new listings and sales this week, is a lot of the new listings last week were in that price point. And especially between the 700 and $1 million price point is where we see properties holding off offers. So this is where we're talking about that week to week shift, where 1 week period, we're gonna see a lot of listings, and then the next week, because they're holding offers until that period, we should see an influx of sales. The inventory over $1 million is staying steady this week at 28 active listings. So in Acton this week, we have 17 active listings, which is flatlined with last week as we predicted, because our sales were the same as our new listings. In Glen Williams, we are steady at 4 listings. In Limehouse, we are up to 2 listings, and the rural market is up slightly to 19 listings. That was a lot of me talking about like shifting and 1 week listing, 1 week holding off offers. So sorry if I kind of lost you there, but I do think that it's inevitable that we're gonna see some shifting in how our sales are just reported. Like we were seeing sort of real time 1 to 2 days on the market. And right now, because of the buyer demand, most listings are coming on with a hold off of offers. So that's just gonna shift the overall sales. So it's going to be interesting next week if we do see that peak in sales that I was predicting from the amount of new listings we had in the past 7 days. So let's just see what happens. If you're in Acton, like, get your property on the market, because apparently there is a lot of demand there. I am super excited to see how the July numbers come in on next week's update. I think that it was a crazy month. The amount of offers that I have written for buyers that haven't panned out, and I know it's me and like every other agent doing this, there is just a huge backlog, and I think what we were seeing in July is going to translate to a higher average price point and a ton of units sold. So come back next week. It should be a good update next week, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Have a great week, everyone.